Hey Robin, it's Liam. Like I told you during golf school, I was going to make you a video of a few of your swings here, and remind you of a couple of things that I think are important. So if you review this video, I think you have a good chance to get better. Just as a reminder of things that we want you doing correctly and some things we don't want you doing. So we're going to start here by looking at your golf swing from the very first day, really before we even went to lunch, before we started working on the golf swing that day. And I'm going to show you close up here in a second, but I can already tell you that this grip is all wrong, and that you can improve that grip quite a bit. That grip makes the ball want to go way left. So the golf swing, notice we talk about it sometimes in our ladies boot camp, but notice your knee kind of come up here. And it's not so much that I want you to focus on the knee, but to me, when your knee comes up, your hands and arms raise, and you don't really turn real well. You may slide a little bit back, just to put a little too much weight on the back foot or the outside of the back foot when you do that, but it's a sign to me that you're not turning. Okay, and when you don't turn, and the club raises instead of going around us, we tend to chop the ball too much. Okay. The rest of it looks fine. Here's the grip you started with. Here's the grip I want you to have. Start it with. Okay, the left hand, I can read that logo real clearly. If I took away the fingers and took away the grip of the golf club there, I'd be looking on your right hand, I'd be looking straight at your palm. The grip I want you to have, notice your logo is much more turned towards the target. And I'm looking at the side of your hand, not the palm of your hand. So that's the grip I want you to have. What we call in golf terminology a little bit more of a neutral grip. So we're going to look at your swing from the back angle now. And again, this is the swing we started with, not what we finished with. So again, you're going to watch your left knee come shooting out. And when that happens, you get very vertical, more up. So the arm angle gets a little bit upright. The club drops behind you a little bit. It's over here by your right arm. And when you do this, you chop. So if you notice, the club head is kind of coming down through your shoulder. Right there it is. Right behind the ball, and it's moving straight downward. And you can notice how deep it wants to dig into the ground right there. And that you hit enough turf there, it almost kind of vibrated or to some degree stopped the swing, because the club got resisted by the ground so much. You kind of see your left elbow come out there and the club come out later. Well, we see that a lot when people chop. The club head gets stopped, but the hands and arms are trying to continue to move at least. Alright, so we're going to look at it from the second day here. And I like teaching you, Robin, because you're very cut and dry. When you do it right, you hit it well. When you don't do it right, you don't hit it well. And this is a better swing we're going to see with you right here. So as you swing, I think you do a much, much better job of turning your hips, not raising your left knee, although it comes out just a little bit. But notice how much more you turn your hips. And when you turn your hips, if you notice, your arm angle is much flatter than what we saw in the last swing. Okay, I can see more of your belt buckle right here, if that makes sense. So you've turned your waist a little bit more. We'll go back and look at the swing we just looked at. You can see your arm angle's up a little bit higher here. And your belt is more pointed off in this direction than this one, which is a little bit more directly back towards us, a little lower arm angle right there. When you put yourself in that position, I'm going to rewind it here for a sec. When you put yourself in that position, when you turn more, get the club around you more, raise your knee less, your hands and arms drop more. So you can see the club now is coming down underneath that line more by your right hip. Lower, lower, lower. And now we sweep it off the ground more. So we're not chopping at it nearly as much. The club doesn't dig in the ground nearly as much. And notice you don't see your elbow kind of shoot out to the left. And that was a long, you can see it flying away there. So a well-hit, long iron shot there. Pretty impressive motion. So what we want you to do a better job of is when you swing is turning your waist, getting the club lower around you, not lifting up and not shooting the left knee out. And if you do those things, your club will come in more shallow and sweep the ball off the ground a little bit more. Here's your chipping. And when you do it right, you chip it good, and when you don't do it right, you don't chip it good. There's very little middle ground with you. So I like your setup here. We got a shaft lean. Our hands are in front of the ball. If you could maybe be a little closer together here, but our hands are in front of the ball. When you chipped it poorly, what you had a habit of doing is excessively hinging in the backswing. Okay, so that's maybe a little bit more hinge than what we want. The longer we're going to hit the shot, the more hinge we'll have. If we're not hitting the ball but maybe 5 or 10 yards in the air, we won't have hardly any hinge at all. I don't know what we're trying to do here, maybe 20, 30 yard shots, so the hinge is a little excessive, but probably not that much. So as you come down again, I like this position because your hands are in front of the club head again. I want you to feel like you're simply, as you go through the ball, turning. Okay, so as you go through here, the one thing I don't like is that the shaft of the club points too much up in the air. Or the shaft, or the club head, if you will, is kind of directly across from your eyes. Once we get to this position in the backswing, where we're slightly hinged, if we do nothing but turn your belt buckle, turn your belt buckle, turn your belt buckle, and your hands go just around you, you will not use nearly as much wrist, and then the club head will stay maybe down somewhere by the knees. You will not see it pop up nearly as high. So I think you get a good shot here, but I don't want you to use as much wrist as you do going through. I simply want you to feel like you're turning and allowing the club to stay lower and more to the left. So those are some ideas from golf school that I want you working on. You work on those, and I think you'll be just fine. You'll hit good shots, and you'll enjoy. Your enjoyment of the game will increase. So have a good week, Robin, and we'll see you around the club. Thank you.